Welcome back to the GH Spoilers channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and fast-developing arcs in General Hospital. If you've been keeping up with the chaos in Port Charles, you already know that things have been heating up around a new face in town, Professor Dalton. But who exactly is he? Why has he arrived now? And how deeply is he connected to the web of secrets, family ties, and vendettas that define the legacy of General Hospital? Let's get straight into it. Professor Dalton's identity is still under wraps. Nobody knows exactly where he came from or what his true intentions are. But in Port Charles, we've learned one thing over the decades: no one ever arrives without a link to someone already deeply rooted in the canvas. And the longer a mystery lasts, the more explosive the reveal usually turns out to be. Enter Jocelyn Jax, or Joss as we know her. Fresh from training and stepping into a completely new role, Joss is now an operative for the WSB. Her first mission? Get close to Dalton and uncover what he's hiding. It's a dangerous task, but she's determined to prove herself. Her instincts are sharp, her emotions are running high, and like her mother Carly, she's not afraid to get her hands dirty when necessary. But what she doesn't realize yet is just how personal this mission may become. The theories about Dalton's background are running wild, and for good reason. One theory that's gained traction among fans is that Dalton is the brother of Shiloh, the notorious leader of the Dawn of Day cult. Shiloh caused nothing but havoc during his time in Port Charles, and if Dalton is indeed his sibling, we could be looking at a calculated effort to rebuild what Shiloh lost or avenge his death. It would certainly explain Dalton's eerie calm, his charisma, and his ability to manipulate those around him without ever seeming to lift a finger. But there's an even more explosive rumor spreading, and this one could shake the Corinthos family to its core. What if Dalton isn't just a threat to the city, but family to its most powerful resident? Yes, there's strong speculation that Professor Dalton might actually be Sonny Corinthos' long-lost eldest son. Let's pause there and let that sink in. It wouldn't be the first time Sonny's past came back to haunt him. We know Sonny was wildly romantic and at times reckless in his youth. He's had many relationships, many of which were brief or ended under volatile circumstances. It's not impossible that one of those affairs resulted in a child he never knew existed. If that child is Dalton, it's no wonder he's returned with vengeance in his eyes. So, let's paint the picture. A young woman, abandoned and pregnant with Sonny's child, left to fend for herself. That child grows up harboring bitterness, resentment, and confusion. He becomes a man of intellect and discipline, a professor, perhaps even a criminal mastermind, and he arrives in Port Charles not just to meet his father, but to destroy him. The pieces are adding up. We've already seen the consequences of someone targeting Sonny in recent episodes. First, there was the shocking bomb blast at Sonny's house. The attempt was professional, well-planned, and timed to send a message. Sonny survived, but it was clear that this wasn't a random attack. And then came something even more sinister: a hired assassin, a woman with no known ties to anyone in town, trying to murder Sonny while he recovered in the hospital. Two targeted attacks, both precise, both meant to finish the job. And both potentially tied to one man, Dalton. If he is indeed Sonny's son, then his campaign isn't just about power. It's about revenge, justice, and pain. It's a personal vendetta. Let's talk motivation. Why would Dalton go this far? If he believes Sonny abandoned his mother, left her to suffer, to raise a child alone, and possibly to die heartbroken, then in his mind, Sonny isn't a hero or a loving father. He's a symbol of everything Dalton grew up without: protection, identity, legacy. And if Dalton's mother is gone now, that fury would only intensify. What's worse is that Sonny, as of now, has no idea who Dalton really is. He sees a stranger, a threat, not his own blood. That kind of dramatic irony is what General Hospital does best. And what about Joss? As she gets closer to Dalton under the guise of her WSB assignment, could she be stepping into a deeper emotional trap? If Dalton starts developing feelings for her, or worse, if he discovers who she is and uses her as leverage, the emotional fallout could be devastating. She's not just Sonny's stepdaughter, she's a direct line into Sonny's life and his weakness. Meanwhile, the Corinthos family remains in the dark. Carly is on edge, picking up on the tension but not yet connecting the dots. Michael is distracted with his own issues, and Dante, Sonny's other son, is trying to keep the peace without knowing that a new war may already be underway. The question is no longer whether Dalton is dangerous. It's how deep his plan runs, and how much damage he's willing to do before the truth comes out. Let's not forget how quickly alliances can shift in Port Charles. If Dalton is exposed but reveals himself as Sonny's son, how will the family react? Will Sonny reject him again, worsening the situation? Or will guilt and confusion cloud his judgment? And what if some members of the family, especially those already disillusioned with Sonny, begin to sympathize with Dalton? There's also the legal angle. The WSB is involved now, and if Dalton's actions cross international lines or expose deeper criminal operations, this could become a global case, not just a family drama. Joss is already compromised emotionally, even if she doesn't realize it yet. One mistake could cost her not only her cover but her future. Then there's the question of who else knows the truth. Did someone in town recognize Dalton and choose to stay quiet? Is someone pulling strings behind the scenes, helping Dalton get closer to Sonny without detection? There's a storm brewing, and Port Charles is the eye of it. With each episode, it becomes clearer, this storyline isn't just about one man seeking revenge. It's about identity, legacy, and the cost of secrets. It's about how the sins of the past always find a way to return. Sometimes in the form of a son, raised in anger, educated in silence, and arriving at the gates of his father's empire with the intention of burning it to the ground. So what's next? Expect the slow burn. General Hospital doesn't drop all its cards at once. We'll see more quiet interactions between Joss and Dalton, small clues about his background, and maybe a few near misses as other characters start connecting dots. But eventually, someone will confront him. Maybe Carly, maybe Dante, or even Sonny himself. And when the truth comes out, when Sonny learns that the man trying to kill him might be his own flesh and blood, the emotional explosion will be even more powerful than the literal one we saw weeks ago. This isn't just another villain of the month plot. This is a layered, long-term arc with deep emotional stakes. And the writers are clearly setting it up to pay off in a big way. Keep your eyes on every glance, every conversation, every shadow that falls a little too long on Dalton's face. Because the past isn't just knocking, it's kicking the door down. Next, we're diving into a tense, emotionally charged storyline that revolves around secrets, blackmail, and a deadly piece of Cassadine history, the infamous dagger once used by Helena Cassadine to murder Alexis Davis's mother. Now, that very same weapon has resurfaced. And with it, a cascade of dangerous consequences is threatening to unravel Alexis's already fragile world. Recently, Jen Sidwell shocked Alexis by presenting her with the dagger, the same weapon she believed had vanished forever, lost beneath the waters years ago. This relic of pain and violence is more than a physical object, it's a symbol of betrayal, loss, and the legacy of trauma that the Cassadine family seems unable to escape. Alexis was horrified to come face to face with the weapon again, and even more disturbed when she realized her fingerprints were now all over it, a detail that initially led her to believe Jens was trying to frame her for a future crime. However, things took a surprising turn. Instead of using the dagger to blackmail or incriminate Alexis directly, Sidwell sent it to her. No demands. No threats. Just the blade, mailed in silence, wrapped in its own sinister mystery. That decision only deepens the question, why? What does he stand to gain by handing over such a dangerous item? And more importantly, what will Alexis do with it now that it's in her possession? Alexis, always one to lean toward reason even in the face of chaos, knows that nothing good can come from holding onto the dagger. It's not just a weapon. It's a trigger. A reminder of everything Helena stole from her. Her instinct is to destroy it. Maybe burn it, melt it down, toss it into the sea once more, anything to sever the psychological tie it represents. But destruction takes effort, and effort demands emotional strength. Instead, the dagger finds a temporary home in the back of Alexis's desk drawer at Miller & Davis. Out of sight, but not truly out of mind. Time passes. Cases come and go. Life resumes its usual turbulence in Port Charles. And still, the dagger remains, buried beneath folders, notes, and case files. A sleeping monster waiting to be awakened. Alexis tells herself she'll get rid of it. Maybe next week. Maybe next month. But days blur together, and the pain fades into numbness. The dagger waits. In the shadows of this brewing storm, new threats arise. Sidwell may not be using the dagger to blackmail Alexis, but that doesn't mean the blackmail has stopped. Together with Ava Jerome, he's begun exploiting a far more dangerous secret. Christina Corinthos Davis's role in a devastating car crash that left Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin hospitalized. It was a mistake, a moment of recklessness that Christina has kept hidden, but now it's being used as leverage. Rick, ever the schemer, sees an opportunity to use this knowledge to manipulate Alexis. Rick's demands are vague at first: favors, influence, political support, but the implication is clear: comply, or Christina's future will be destroyed. Alexis, already pushed to her limit by years of emotional trauma, is furious. Rick's arrogance, his cruel taunts, and his smug certainty that she'll cave become unbearable. Then, in a moment of rage, Alexis snaps. She reaches into her desk, pulls out the dagger, and points it at Rick. Her hand shakes. Her voice doesn't. The threat is real. Rick, shocked, steps back, mockingly amused, but also nervous. He makes a snide remark: "Now I see where Christina gets it." That's the trigger. Something inside Alexis fractures. The insult cuts deeper than he realizes, and it strikes at everything she's fought to protect: her daughter, her dignity, her sense of control. In a terrifying instant, she lunges, the dagger slicing through the tension like a thunderclap. Whether she actually stabs Rick or merely grazes him remains unclear. Either way, he now knows Alexis is done playing games. But the chaos doesn't end there. Ava Jerome, ambitious and increasingly unhinged, comes to Alexis with fresh demands. Money. Silence. Influence. Whatever she can squeeze from Alexis, she'll try. Ava has no shame and, worse, no fear. But Alexis has changed. The woman who once let herself be manipulated by threats is gone. The moment Ava threatens Christina again, Alexis draws a hard line. Their conversation explodes into a shouting match. Ava, cornered and arrogant, pushes too far. Alexis, frayed and fragile, pushes back harder. The dagger comes out again, not as a plan, not as a weapon, but as instinct. Ava's eyes widen. For the first time, she's afraid. Whether Alexis actually strikes or simply comes close, the message is clear: this isn't someone who will be bullied anymore. Ava flees, shaken. And Alexis is left standing in her office, dagger in hand, heart pounding. The realization hits her hard: she's not just trying to protect Christina. She's willing to kill for her. The questions now loom like storm clouds over Port Charles. Is the dagger back for a reason? It's hard to believe in coincidence when it comes to Helena Cassadine's legacy. That weapon may be more than just a relic, it might be a test. A curse. A final whisper from beyond the grave to see whether Alexis will succumb to the same darkness that haunts every Cassadine. Will Alexis go too far? Is she on the edge of becoming the very thing she's feared her entire life? The coming weeks promise answers. Tensions will rise. Loyalties will be tested. Alexis, once the voice of reason in an unreasonable world, is now standing at a crossroads, with blood on her hands, or at least the will to spill it. And somewhere in the shadows, Sidwell watches. He gave her the dagger. He knew exactly what it represented. Maybe this was never about blackmail. Maybe it was about seeing whether Alexis would finally break. As the blade glints in the fading office light, one truth becomes impossible to deny: General Hospital has entered a dangerous new chapter, and Alexis Davis is no longer just a survivor. She may soon be a killer. Next, we will dive into the tantalizing whispers of a groundbreaking storyline that might just redefine the drama in Port Charles, a potential cloning plot that has fans buzzing with excitement. As rumors swirl and cryptic hints emerge from cast members, we're peeling back the layers of this intriguing mystery surrounding Professor Henry Dalton and the shadowy science that could change everything on the ABC soap. Buckle up, because this speculation promises twists, turns, and jaw-dropping revelations that might bring back familiar faces or their uncanny doubles. The cryptic clues from Daniel Goddard. Let's start with the spark that ignited this wildfire of speculation. Daniel Goddard, the charismatic actor stepping into the shoes of the enigmatic Professor Henry Dalton, recently took to social media to drop some eyebrow-raising breadcrumbs for eager fans. On X, formerly known as Twitter, Goddard shared a striking image of himself in character, exuding an air of intellectual intensity. But it wasn't just the photo that caught attention, it was the accompanying snippet of an interview with none other than Sir John Gordon, a titan in the world of science. Goddard's caption read, "Did you know? This is Professor Henry Dalton's guiding light and mentor, Nobel laureate Sir John Gordon. Who fuels your passion? Who do you turn to for wisdom?" While this might seem like a playful nudge to engage his audience, the choice of Gordon as Dalton's idol is anything but random. It's a deliberate clue, laced with implications that have set the fanbase abuzz with theories about where this storyline might lead. Could Goddard be hinting at a plot so audacious it borders on science fiction? Only time will tell, but the seeds of curiosity have been firmly planted. Who is Sir John Gordon, and why does he matter? So, who exactly is Sir John Gordon, and why is his connection to Professor Dalton sending shockwaves through the General Hospital community? For those unfamiliar, Gordon is a British developmental biologist whose groundbreaking contributions to science earned him a Nobel Prize. Often hailed as the godfather of cloning, Gordon revolutionized the field with his pioneering experiments in nuclear transplantation, proving that mature cells could be reprogrammed to create an identical organism. His work laid the foundation for modern cloning techniques, sparking ethical debates and scientific wonder alike. By aligning Professor Dalton with such a towering figure, the writers of General Hospital are unmistakably signaling that Dalton's character is tethered to the realm of cutting-edge and potentially dangerous science. Is Dalton merely an admirer of Gordon's intellect, or does he harbor ambitions to replicate his mentor's feats in a far more sinister context? Fans are already theorizing that Dalton's fascination with cloning could be the key to an explosive storyline, one that might unravel the very fabric of identity in Port Charles. A cloning plot, the ultimate game-changer? The mere suggestion of cloning in General Hospital opens up a Pandora's box of dramatic possibilities. Imagine a world where duplicates roam the streets of Port Charles, indistinguishable from the originals, sowing confusion and distrust. This isn't just wild speculation, there are already murmurs among fans pointing to specific characters who might be caught in this web of deception. Take Drew Kane, for instance. His recent behavior has been erratic, a stark departure from the man we've come to know. Could Drew be battling a hidden ailment, or is there a more fantastical explanation at play? Some viewers are whispering that Drew might not be himself at all, perhaps he's a clone, a perfect replica engineered for reasons yet unknown. This theory gains traction when we consider the show's history of memory mapping and mind-altering experiments, plotlines that have primed the audience for something as outlandish as human duplication. If Drew is indeed a clone, who created him, and what is their endgame? Could Professor Dalton, with his scientific obsessions, be the mastermind behind such a scheme? Resurrecting the past, Victor Cassidy's return? But Drew might just be the tip of the iceberg. Let's turn our attention to a name that still sends shivers down the spine of any longtime General Hospital fan, Victor Cassidy. The notorious villain met a grim fate in Greenland, or so we thought. What if that wasn't the real Victor who perished, but a clone crafted to take his place while the true mastermind lurked in the shadows? This twist would not only bring back one of the show's most iconic antagonists but also set the stage for a cascade of shocking returns. The Cassidy family, with their penchant for dark secrets and ruthless ambition, would be the perfect candidates for cloning experiments. Imagine the chaos if other long-departed characters were revealed to have clones walking among us, their deaths merely a ruse to cover up a larger conspiracy. Such a plotline would breathe new life into old rivalries and reignite feuds that have simmered beneath the surface for years, making Port Charles a battleground of doppelgangers and deception. Implications for fan-favorite characters. The ripple effects of a cloning storyline extend far beyond individual characters. They could reshape the very dynamics of General Hospital. Imposter plots have always been a soap opera staple, but introducing clones takes this trope to an entirely new level. Fans are already speculating about which beloved characters might return through this sci-fi lens. Could we see the resurrection of figures whose exits left a void in the storyline, their clones carrying echoes of past betrayals and romances? Moreover, the ethical dilemmas posed by cloning would add a layer of depth to the narrative, forcing characters to confront questions of identity, humanity, and morality. Professor Dalton, as the potential architect of this scheme, could emerge as a polarizing figure, part genius, part villain whose actions challenge the moral compass of everyone around him. Will the residents of Port Charles rally against this tampering with nature, or will some embrace the possibilities it offers, no matter the cost? Jocelyn Jacks and the WSB mission, a key to unraveling the truth? Amidst these swirling rumors of clones and conspiracies, spoilers hint at a pivotal role for Jocelyn Jacks in uncovering the truth.